Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good. I had to restart my computer, so sorry for that. Get started here. So, I'm Katrina. This is Sow and Tare. This is the live we do every week on Monday at 6 p.m. And that's what we do. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. We'll do question and answer. If you have discussion topics you want to talk about, if you want to share something fun that you did, and Steve, I don't know how to help you there. I saw that part. And so let's get started. I begin by going through the comments, and we usually start off with a bunch of hellos and highs, and that's always good. Please let us know where you're from and what you're growing or what you hope to grow. All right, here we go. I got to scroll up. You guys started before me. All right. Verna's here, Vase Place, and she is my moderator. You'll see her in blue, and she catches the bad guys. She has her own YouTube channel and teaches you how to grow food in an apartment setting. She grows quail. She used to grow cuy, and now she grows rabbits. She just started, so that's cool. Check her out. And good evening. And Ed's here. Hi, everyone. Hi, Ed. Welcome, welcome. And PJ's here. You're here. You're here early. Welcome. Dawn is here. Hi. Hello. And Steve's here as well. Hi, Steve. All right. Steve says, we ate quail cookies for a snack today. Yum, yum. So good. But alas, that was the last of them. I didn't bring any home. I was gone when you guys divvied stuff up. PJ, if you didn't know, PJ made everyone quail cookies. Not cookies made out of quail. I think they had some quail eggs in them, though. They were in the shape of a quail for QuailCon. And that was a lot of work, which was appreciated, PJ. Well, thank you. Buster says, hi to all. Hi, Buster. Welcome. And Dawn says, I've never heard of quail cookies. Yeah, they're quail-shaped. Everybody's saying hi. Yeah, PJ made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds for QuailCon, Steve is saying. Yep. Oh, PJ has more in the freezer. All right. Buster says, so I seen your videos about the sand bath. I don't know if you're talking about me or someone else, but yeah, sand baths are wonderful. I do have a video on that. I have video on how to make them well, and also just having them have fun in the sand bath. It is awesome to watch quail in the sand bath, for sure. Verna says, yeah, I didn't get any of the quail-shaped ones, but I did get some of her ginger snaps, which I love. Yes. Your cookies that I bought came home. Well, some of them came home all the way. But yeah, good cookies. Verna the barbecue was great. Barbecue is always good. Well, usually good. How about that? Hey, Fulster Farms here. Hi, all. Hi, Mandy. Welcome. Steve's here, says, appreciate it, Buster. They love their sand bath. Okay, it must have been Steve's video, especially when it comes from above. Oh, you did a video showing when you refill the sand? Oh, that's so funny. I call it a sand shower then. They don't have a sand bath. They like to go through it. They like go through the stream. It's pretty cool. Ed says, hi, all. And yes, Katrina, not Christina. Or maybe you're answering Christina. I messaged you about fire cider, but you didn't look at it. I did briefly see that because I briefly went on that today. Yeah, this week's been really busy, but thank you for the reminder, Ed. It will happen eventually. If I did my homework, yeah, I did a lot of other things. That's what I did. Thanks, Ed. Ed says, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Absolutely. Good thing to do if you haven't already. And yeah, Verna's glad Buster enjoyed the barbecue. Good. My money is on not. Oh, Steve. You're right. I didn't do it. Aaron's here. Good evening. Good evening, Aaron. Good evening. And Steve says you're late. I don't think he was late. All right, everybody's saying hi. Skip some of the highs. David's here. Howdy, hi, everybody. Howdy, hi, David. Hope you're doing well. Buster's asking Verna how her hatch was. I want to know too. Dawn was first comment, but it's gone. Dawn, it's the story of your life here. Maybe not a story of your life. Story of first comment. Speaking of late, hey, I had to restart my computer. Mandy says, PJ, I'm still dreaming about those delicious quail cookies. Awesome. Still on your screen. Okay, Verna's hatch. She has 40 so far. Hufflebator is not as good as Little Giant. All right. Too many highs. I can't keep up. Just say hi, everyone. You're good. Yeah. Okay. Going through. And Steve has lockdown in 4 days. You think? Did you lose track? Did you not? Did you forget to put it on the calendar? I've done that before. Yeah, I have. And you're like, oh, are you early? I don't know. Yeah. Put down when you put on your calendar, write it down somewhere when you put the eggs in, because chances are at some point, you might remember for a while, but then at some point, some hatch you're going to forget. Chances are they'll start hatching if you don't put them on lockdown anyway. I had that happen last time. I think something was happening with my incubator, that it might have been hotter, but they started hatching while it was still in the churner. And PJ says, I'm so glad everyone enjoyed them. Yeah, absolutely. And Ed wants to know if you got a bigger cookie cutter. Oh, you want a bigger one? I'll be your witness, he says. There I am. Yes, I was like a minute late, guys. I'm sorry. But now you guys just jumped. So let me go back up to the top-ish. All right. Steve says, have to fix my clock. It says 8:02. Haha. Yeah, that's what I was laughing at earlier. Oh, boy. My clock says 8:02 too? Yeah, okay. I was a minute late. It's 2 minutes late, maybe. Yeah. Steve is in Mississippi, and he's growing quail. Foster Farms is Mandy, says, I learned how to make quail skulls from Kelly. Eek! I love them. That is awesome. And how much time does it take you to do them? I haven't done it yet. I know how to do it. I've done a badger. That one's a little more intricate. Yeah. Vay's Place is in Ohio and grow quail and rabbits and vertical and container gardening. She has a lot going on. Fulster Prop says, buy quail con eggs. Sorry. My quail con eggs are hatching today. Woot woot. Yay. Good luck and congratulations. JJ says, hello, fellow quail lovers. That was hard for me to say, JJ. Welcome. Yeah, Verna did cooey skulls. Yep. Steve says, Papa the Builder gave the kids a bag of cookies. Oh, okay. There you go. We keep them sugared, huh? PJ says, no, Ed, they sent me 2 of the same size I had before, but I can see why the plastic separate. Oh, your cookie cutter came apart? That's unfortunate. Jay says, hi to Verna. Hope you're feeling better today. Absolutely. I hope you're feeling good. No headaches and just calm and good stuff for you. All right. Fulster Farms. I feel so stupid I didn't think to freeze the cookies. It's okay. You just have to eat them all now. Well, if they're still good. They should still be good. It's all sugar, right? But it's good ingredients, so it might not be. All right. Eagle says hello from North Carolina. Hello and welcome. If you have any questions, put it in the chat. If you have any comments or discussion topics you want to talk about homestead related, put it in the comments. Buster says, I thought Katrina was going to cut her hair when she was gathering her cucumbers. No. I do need to trim it, though. I trim my own hair. I consider making that a video. I don't know if anybody's interested in that at all, of how to trim your own hair if you have long hair. Let me know. I don't know. It does need a trim. And by a trims are usually like this much for me. I haven't cut it in like 2 years probably. You're funny. But those are really good cucumbers. The silver slicers, they're very good. They don't have any bitterness. That big one that I bit into, you guys saw the video today. It doesn't have, like, usually when a cucumber gets like big and the skin gets hard on it, it's just, you're done with it. This one, the skin you don't really want to eat because it is really tough, but the inside, completely edible and awesome. So yeah, I recommend the silver slicer. That was the first year that I've had them fruit for me. I tried to grow them from seed. I think it was last year, and they just didn't come up for some reason. I think some other ones came up, but that one didn't for some reason. But they were wonderful. Yeah. Steve says, you just sneak in the freezer and eat them. You know, Steve, my mom would make cookie dough and pre-roll it in little balls. So like there's the Mrs. Fields cookie recipe. And she would do little balls and you put it in a Ziploc bag and put it in the freezer so that you could get out a few of them and cook them. You don't cook cookies, you bake cookies. Just get out a few and bake them. And that was a really good idea, except for my brother and I would get into the freezer because, you know, cookie dough, balls of frozen cookie dough, that's better than a cookie sometimes. She would come back to not a full bag. Hey, Feather Connections is here. Hi, Kelly. Got one really emotional older kiddo, and my youngest has been up since 3 a.m. So there's a lot going on over here, but popped on to tell you I love you and give my like. Love you too. I'm hoping that your kids calm down and maybe go to sleep, because that would give you a big break and give them some rest that they need. Yeah. All right. People still saying hi to each other. JJ says PJ's cookie rocked. Those cookies were even better than mine. Ooh. No shame in my game, Mandy says. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Hey, Guido's Family Farms here. Hi, Christina. I can't even talk. Good evening, friends. Good evening. Ed says the cookies last long enough to be frozen. I never had that problem. Yeah. PJ says, take care of the babies. Yep. All right. Hey, those in on the joke. Steve says, good evening, Christina, hater of goats. Yeah, he's not going to convince you, is he? Yeah, let us know when that happens. Oh, boy. All right, everybody's still saying hi. Oops. Let's see. We can get into some discussion topics. Bob's here. Welcome, Bob. Good evening, folks, he says. And, okay. Verna says, if Bucky is successful, I will have kits October 18th. Awesome. So talking about her rabbit, new rabbit. Well, rabbits. Takes one more than one. Jumbo quail cookie cutter. Yep. David says, I'm looking at capturing rainwater from the roofs of our aviary, which is a tarp, mine too, and our chicken coop, which is wood. Do we need to filter the water for our feathered friends? So I'm not an expert on rainwater capture. However, what I would tell you is if you're okay with whatever is on the surface coming off, then no. If you are not okay with it, then yes. So like if it came off of a roof that is like a a house roof, those are usually like shingles and stuff, then yes, you do want to at least have a filter to catch it. What I would ask you in return, personally, if it was just plain wood and it was just plain tarp, I would be fine with it. But what I would then turn around and ask you is how you're going to get that to your birds. Because if you're going to pipe it directly, I would have a filter just so it didn't get clogged up, right? Because if you have the water going directly from that barrel or whatever you're collecting in, then it's going to have to go through the small things and whatever your waterers are, if they're the cups with the plunger, or if they're the float cups, or whatever your watering system is, will it clog it up? So if that is what you're doing, I would filter it. If that's not what you're doing, I think it would be fine without, unless it was treated wood. And treated wood, I maybe just cover it with a tarp, maybe. I don't know. So that's my input. Not a professional in that, but that's my input. Yeah, Alberta says depends on tiles and chicken coop. Yeah, he's saying it's wood. So if it's wood that's treated, or if it's wood that has like a lot of litter in it that could come off, yeah, it totally depends. And again, not an expert in that. Steve says, in the wild, is puddled on the ground, they drink it. I would only skim off the first gallon and use after that, as long as it was not from asphalt. So yeah, that's what I was talking about from the roof. If it was from like a house roof, yeah. And David's saying tiles are not applicable. Yeah. Hopefully that helps. JJ's saying hi to everybody. Thank you, PJ. She says I have beautiful hair. Thank you. Bolster Farm says I left some in the turner too long and hatched in the turner too. Oops. Yeah, it happens. And my turners move so slowly, I don't know that it would actually crush them, but I don't want to find out, right? Yeah, that's something I don't want to find out. And she also says, I have created stickers now that go on the egg trays to remind me when to take them out of my calendar. If my calendar skills are lacking that day. Yeah, sometimes you don't look at the calendar all day, right? I need to put more things on my calendar. That's what I need to do. Yeah. JJ says, I love the flavor of veggies in this cooler weather. Yeah. So vegetables, when they get, I'm not there yet, but if you're in an area that frosts or get a little colder, your vegetables, like your root vegetables specifically too, will get a little sweeter. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Bob says, got tired of dealing with hair. Buzz it off for years now. I'm not going to do that. Yep, not going to do that. Verna says, as soon as it cools enough, I will be making many varieties of New York cheesecake, slicing them up and putting them through the freeze dryer. Okay, I have a freeze dry question, actually, for you or Ed or anybody else on here who has a freeze dryer. I was thinking about this today. So I know I make really good pumpkin pie. It's from a recipe off the internet. Don't remember who it was from. I do have a video on that. And it comes from real pumpkin. So here's a question. I know that if I make a pumpkin pie and freeze it, it'll come out okay. If I make pumpkin pie filling and freeze it and then cook it, it doesn't really turn out well. I'm thinking about making the filling and not cooking it and freeze drying it and then powdering it, and then you can add in the extras. Do you think that will work? I don't know. I'm just thinking because pumpkin you can as chunks, but you can't can it as you're not supposed to can it as a puree because of the density, and it's unreliable. The heat and the pressure don't reliably get to the center of that jar because of density, and that's something that they've tested, and yeah, and that's the why. So my question is, okay, so I have been just freezing the pumpkin glop. That's what we call it, because that's the sound it makes when it comes out. and into the bowl. And I've been freezing it, but I'm thinking that if I can freeze dry it and powder it, I can do that with a pumpkin, but I'm wondering, like, could I do that with it all incorporated with the egg and everything else? And that's a question that I have. And I was thinking about making a test batch of that. But if you guys know, let me know. All right, here's my question. Foster Farms says, you jumped. Hang on. Speaking of cookie dough, to my knowledge, my kids never had a baked cookie, but we ate lots of frozen dough. It's a thing. It is a thing. It is a thing, for sure. For sure. JJ says, I dislike my hair. In Ohio, it is either windy or humid or both, so my hair goes everywhere because I only use product for formal situations. I don't use anything on my hair. I went through a phase of using avocado oil every once in a while to like do the hydration stuff, and it was nice. It made it nice and smooth, but I have fallen out of habit of that. Yeah, my hair was extra puffy in Ohio. The humidity goes poof. Yeah, for sure. I understand. Full Farm says that's why God invented the ponytail and the ball cap. Just saying. Yeah, ponytail. Silver Creek's here. Howdy. Welcome, welcome. All right. And congratulations on your didn't you get something with your YouTube? Something close or something good? Good job. PJ's saying hi. Everybody's saying hi. Okay. And JJ's laughing at Mandy. Oh, I got to scroll up again. So Greek says, I like the general rule of if you wouldn't drink it, don't expect animals to. That being said, they'd rather drink poop-filled muddy water. It does not go the other way around. This is a rectangle is a square where a square is in a rectangle. Is that right? Did I say that right? One is true and the other isn't. There you go. All right. Steve says they certainly aren't as picky as we are. Right. But I would agree. If you aren't going to drink it, then your animals won't drink it. But for me, the question, because I believe both of those surfaces are safe, the tarp and the piece of wood, as long as it's not treated, those are safe surfaces, I would think. I mean, the very first rain of the year, you might have some poop on top because you have bird poop. So maybe you want to get that off first or spray it down or something before the rain comes. So you don't have, outdoor external poop coming into the system because, you don't want disease. But other than that, I think those surfaces are fine as long as they're rinsed off or clean. And it would just be how the particulates, right? How big of a particulate you're okay with for the reasons I said before. So, yeah. Fulster says a great filter is a 5-gallon paint strainer in a piece of 4-inch PVC pipe. Good tip. Good tip. Yeah. Oh, JJ and Silver Creek we're talking about duckweed. Duckweed's good. It's good for your animals. It's good for you if you want to. As long as it's not in a heavy metal rich water, because it is a heavy metal accumulator. So if you do not want to eat heavy metals, which I suggest you don't want to eat them, then that is what I would make sure if you're growing it in a place that doesn't have that. Verna says, my neck cannot handle long hair. I have to keep it short. Yeah, if you have it in the wrong hairstyle, that's why I do high ponytails. So I do high ponytails right here. If the weight is here, then it's fine. That's completely fine. If I have like a bun that's part way up my head, that is a lot of weight because this is a lot of hair. Yeah. Bob says, David, I have rainwater collection, metal roof, metal gutter, first flush system recommended. Most folks have a screen type device at the top for big stuff, I use it for the garden. Would filter it for birds or us in emergency. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. The first flush, I think is most important because you have the potential for other bird poop or other debris or whatever, maybe you have a pack rat that went up there once and pooped. So that makes sense to me. Yeah. See, we're getting all sorts of input. And I gotta scroll. You guys are talky. Verna says, Katrina, I will have to taste my 1 pound 11 ounce cucumber to find out if it's bitter or not. You planted Market More, is that right? Am I right, or did I make that up? Because I've planted Market More and I did not like it because it was bitter. But we can get really hot here too, which can push the bitterness. Yeah. JJ says, I said hi to everyone because I missed everyone and didn't want anyone to be left out. I need to load a key with greetings to everyone. Then all I have to do is hit one key. Oh boy. Shortcutting hellos. That sounds like a shortcutting hellos sounds like it should be like a I don't know, some sort of like how-to book. Or sticky key hellos. Isn't that what sticky key does? Yeah. Anyway. PJ says, I used to have long hair like Katrina, but I got too many headaches. Now I just keep it short because I get too hot. Yeah, it is a blanket. It is a blanket. You guys see me in the summer. I have my big knob up here. That's why. Yeah. Folster Farm says, retired at 40. YouTube has pumpkin pie advice. I have watched his stuff on actual pumpkin pie. I have not seen anything from him for pumpkin pie. Like what I'm thinking about is doing like, here's a mix. Here's a jar of pumpkin pie. Add water, add whipping cream, add whatever the moisture is back into it, and then bake it. Like that's what I'm thinking. Because I think that would be cool. Yeah. But yeah, he has a lot of good advice and a lot of good stuff. Ed says, it should work, but pumpkin is best kept in the trash. Ed, you have not had my pumpkin pie. My dad doesn't like pumpkin pie, and he likes my pumpkin pie, which is actually a recipe off the internet's pumpkin pie. But it's good. Mix 2 pies. And JJ's laughing at you. Verna says, I would freeze dry the pumpkin slices, powder it, then use it to make pumpkin pie. Weigh the trays before dry it so you know the moisture content as for pie. Yeah, I would still make the pumpkin. I would still cook the pumpkin. Like, I don't think you'd make the puree because you can do that after the fact in the freeze dryer. But I would still cook it. I wouldn't just slice it. I know that. Yeah. Blasphemy. Oh boy. Ed, you're funny. Gidra says, I passed my raw pumpkin through the food processor and freeze dried it. I'm hoping to be able to reconstitute and cook for pies. Awesome. Yeah, let me know how that goes because I am curious about that because I know I have experienced in the freezer, like using it in the freezer and having it come out and be not great. But I'm thinking if I freeze dry it kind of right away, freeze it and freeze dry, it might be different. I don't know. Rita says, filling, you should spread it thin, as if you do it as full as you can, you will have problems with it being gooey and sticky because of the thickness. Yeah, that's a good tip because again, like if you're canning it, there's a density issue. So that's a good advice that it might be a thinner thing. Yeah. And Silver Creek says, yes, 1,500 subs. Thanks. Yep. Good. Holster Farm says, embrace that poofy hair. Some of us have spent a fortune on perms in the 80s. I remember one year we had, there was choir. I was in choir, and we had, I don't know, was it 70s or 80s? 80s, it must have been, you saying 80s. It must have been 80s that, like, we had a whole concert with 80s theme songs and all that. And I know a few of my friends and I we were going to do a song. And then two of the girls in the group were fighting. So we ended up not doing the song, as is middle school drama. But yeah, we did braids, like little tiny braids all over our heads. And we did that for like 3 days or something, and brushed it out. And it was like, poof. I don't need to do that again. But it was pretty funny at the time. JJ says, dang all that talk about cookies. Now I'm craving PJ's cookies. Yeah, PJ, you should have sent around an email list, right? Get on the mailing list. Verna says, it should do well. Christina, okay. David says, 60 Coturnix eggs in incubation would lock down the 28th. Saturday, we had a 4-hour power outage. First use of our small BBU. I plugged the turner and a light, and no issues with keeping up the temps. Awesome. Good. That is awesome. And that's the generator that we talked about. What was that? A few months ago, right? That's awesome. Eric says, hello, just finished church. I'm back home after last week being in the hospital. Eric, welcome, and I am glad that you are out of the hospital, and I am hoping that you have a good recovery, because that's tough. It's a good recovery. And thank you for the super chat. Thank you. Yeah, stay strong. Eric is here. She said, I didn't think it was going to be a topic of hair. I love your hair, Katrina. I recognize you from behind when I got to QuailCon because of the hair before we actually met. I understand it. I had short hair once in middle school. It was this short. That was a bad thing, because I have lots of waves, right? Well, when it gets shorter, it goes poof. Well, it was like here, and it poofs up, and it was in the way. Steve says, I've never done pumpkin powder, though. They say it can be used to make a pumpkin pie when it is hydrated, just like you use regular pumpkin. Yeah, I knew that. I'm not sure about the extra ingredients putting in there. Yeah. And Verna says, we did miss you, Eric. Yes. In fact, there were jokes at the beginning of last time, I think, for your benefit. So if you didn't, go back and watch that. People were saying jokes in there. For those that don't know, Eric is our local comedian, and jokes are a good thing. We're not joking that he was in the hospital. We're just doing dad jokes. Folster says, tread lightly. Those cookies are habit forming. JD says, please don't remind me. My brother just sent me a bunch of pictures from the 80s and my perms. Oh boy. I have never had a perm, never dyed my hair. Yeah. Yep. You guys jumped again. Oh my gosh, you guys are talkative tonight. Audio's okay. I gotta find you guys. Oh my gosh. All right. Eric says, oh, I missed you too, Verna. And Silver Creek, I'd totally drink tarp water. Without the earlier conversation, that is a very weird statement. I even want to collect condensate plastic sheets in an upside down pyramid into a bucket. That sounds like a fantastic idea, and I think you're in the right place to do that. Yeah. You can use all sorts of things for that too. Like you can use plastic, or you can use there's like the tulle fabric, but the thinner one, or the one with smaller holes in it. I've heard of people using that for that. But yeah, let us know how it goes if you try that. Where it says, I would bake the pumpkin and cut it or scoop it out to freeze dry it. Yeah, so I was thinking, so I know that I can do that. That's the thing I know. The thing I don't know is like incorporating all the ingredients together and then freeze drying. So that's what we'll see. I might try it. Steve says, my cookies didn't last long enough to be habit forming. Eric says, I'm buying yams and sweet potatoes now. Awesome. Yeah, I like sweet potatoes. I don't think I've ever had a true yam. Most of the yams that we have in the supermarkets here are sweet potatoes. They just call them yams. Yams I think are from Africa, and they are a little different than our yams are here. So yeah, but sweet potatoes, those are good. Those are really good. Andy Rabbit says, hello, Andy Rabbit. Welcome. And Verna says, Katrina, with me, I have degraded disc disease in my neck, so I can't handle long hair. Yep, I get it. Foster Farm says, duckweed is awesome for protein content, dehydrate and freeze dry for green drinks or for quail snacks. Except for he says smacks, and I know that's a typo, but I like it. It should be quail smacks. They don't have lips. They can't do that. Our rabbits even ate it after drying it on a screen. That is awesome. And again, the only thing I would say is to make sure your duckweed is grown in an area that doesn't have heavy metal exposure, or in the soil or in the water, because it is an accumulator. It has a heavy metal accumulator. Yeah. Verna says, I don't know what kind it was. I got it at the store. Okay. I thought I heard in one of your videos that it was Market More, but maybe not. JJ says, my grandma had hair to the floor. She was native and refused to cut it, so she made one braid and wrapped it into a bun. That is a lot. And Aunt in Alabama, the same thing. And Folster says, wow. Eric's here. He's up for the challenge. What's the difference between boogers and broccoli? A kid won't eat broccoli. JJ says, when my hair gets to my waist, I have a tendency to get it all chopped off. Yeah. A woman's hair is her crown and glory. Hang on to that hair as long as you can. I'm not going to be the old lady with short hair. I'm going to be the old lady with long hair, but it does need to be trimmed. Yeah. But my kids hate broccoli. Eric says, even better, you ever been to the Grand Canyon? It's just gorgeous. I have been to Grand Canyon, and it is gorgeous. It is good. Bob says to Silver Creek, be careful with condensate water. Remember, Legionnaire's disease. Google that. I did not know that was an issue with condensate water. That is interesting. And I know nothing about it other than it can be done. And people use plastic, and people use tulle fabric, and people also just get the stuff off the grass, like the dew kind of stuff, with cloth and then wring it out. I know people do that, but that's something worth looking up. Andy Rabbit says, I will get more headaches when my hair gets long. Eric said, I love pumpkin pie with cinnamon. That is a good thing. That's a good thing. Folster Farms says, my daughter and I would grow ours out and then donate to Locks of Love for wigs for cancer patients. It's shoulder length now. I'm tired. Yeah, I have a friend that used to donate to them and then found out that they charge for the wigs. And so she donates to different, this is all from her. I have no idea. I've never talked to them at all. But she donates to a different charity now that actually doesn't charge the people for the wigs. And she has beautiful hair. No, my hair gets donated to the birds for the wildlife birds, for them to nest. How do farmers party? I don't know. They are party animals. Silver Creek says, Bob, just as an emergency for when there is no rain to catch, we've only had 2 rains since last December. I definitely still clean the water. Heck, I even have enough aquatic plants I could filter the water. Yeah. So are you doing aquaponics? Because I know you do fish, and I know you do lots of different animals. And I know you have a lot of different plants. And I know one time when we were on here, you're talking about the dissolved oxygen is pretty high in your tanks, which mitigates temperature. But that is a question. Are you looking into doing that into aquaponics, or even just setting up a filter? You could set up a filter with plants in that. And I mean, you can use lava rock for that too in that setup as a substrate. Yeah. JD says it's super sweet. Yep. Oatmeal raisin cookies. Those are good too. Verna says, Katrina, another thing you can do, make the pumpkin pie filling, put it in mini ice cube trays and freeze. After it is frozen, pop it out the freeze dryer trays, spacing them, then freeze dry them. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering if it would actually work. But yeah, not I was thinking raw, but yeah. I started something. Mandy says, PJ, I want to be on the cookie list. JJ says, me too. Oh boy. Oh boy. Eric says, oh, I ate a Vietnamese dish on Sunday that included quail eggs. Yay. And were they yummy? I'm sure they were. How did they cook it? Was it like a hard-boiled thing, or was it how did they cook it? Thank you, JJ. It's a pretty color hair. All right, everybody's asking Eric what the dish was, and he's saying baglo, banya, and Eric, you're entertaining people with your jokes. It's good. See you next week. All right, David, you're signing off. We haven't had the topic of the week yet. It's okay. Folster says, stay the course and welcome back. We did dad jokes for you. Yep. Laughter the best medicine. Absolutely. Steve says pork dumplings. Is that what it is? What? I don't know. Going to eat chocolate dumplings for your birthday, Eric. Oh my gosh, I don't even know what that is, but it sounds delicious. Yeah. Foster Farms is laughing. Context is everything, but oh, what the fun when you don't have it. Yep. Be careful if you not be chocolate. Uh-oh. JJ says, okay, whose smoke detector is beeping? I'm looking around, but I think it's Katrina's. Nope. Not mine. JJ, you're going to have to find it. It's probably like in the attic. Or your neighbors. It's the one that beeps when you're not in the room. You went in that room to find it, and then it's going to beep somewhere else. Yeah. Yep. Good luck with that. Welcome home, Eric. Andy Rabbit says, has anyone tried bee venom cream yet? I haven't tried it yet. I haven't tried it yet. There's warnings on it, so like I want to try it when I'm close to a hospital. Yeah. Might be the connection. I hope I'm not a fire alarm. Hope not. Oh, Verna says that she has used bee venom, didn't think it worked for her. Okay. Verna's hearing incubators. That's what she's hearing. And Folster says, regarding duckweed conversation, I'm very spoiled now. We have spring water that is so sweet, and I won't drink any water but my own. Yeah, that is a gift. That is a gift that you should embrace. Yeah. Ed says you don't hear. Oh yeah, don't hear any beeping from the live. Good, good. Folster says I fill our bottles to take with us anywhere, even QuailCon. The duckweed is the bomb, to the point we sell it to the rich folks in the next town over. What do they do with it? That's what I would like to know. I know what can be done, but what is it sold for? That's why I want to know. Silver Creek says, my dad does aquaponic in his greenhouse. I'm not, though. I grow seasonally and grow things out of the tanks, out of the filters, and grow in the sump system as well. That's interesting. I know that I don't know enough to know how to grow in the sump system. There we go. Mandy says duckweed is natural filter. We use it for the livestock tanks. It absolutely is. Yeah, it absolutely is. And Buster wants to know, Andy, how is your hatch? I want to know too. And JJ says, Andy Rabbit, I've used it on my low back. Old break, it helped with inflammation, but ice works best. I used it also on a cut nerve, and it stopped it from being over the top obnoxious. That is good. That's good news. Hey, Diana's here. Diana Tuttle Top Farm. Welcome. Hi, all. I made some oatmeal cranberry butterscotch chip cookies and gave out at our farmer's market on Saturday as well. Oh, as a sample made with quail eggs. Was a hit. And did you bring enough for everybody? Are you bragging? You have cookies and we don't? No, that sounds wonderful. That's awesome. Awesome. All right. Everybody's saying yum. Good. Erica says, I'm building a couple of greenhouse aviaries this week. Awesome. That sounds great. And Diana says, yes, was very good. Bolster Farm, smoke detector. That's me. I have quail chicks in my office. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, I don't think she can hear them over the live coming from here. And if she can, she has very good hearing. Rare needs more coffee. Dawn says, I like the bee venom when my knees are inflamed. Okay. Foster says, rich folks buy duckweed to make green drinks for gym rats and soccer moms. Interesting. I mean, as long as it doesn't have the heavy metals in it, it is a healthy thing. So that's interesting. Yeah, that's a partnership you want to have. Erica says, I'm planning on doing rain catchment and growing duckweed in the rain barrels. Funny how the conversation tonight is lining up with what I'm working on. It is funny how that works. Absolutely. Sometimes people think about things seasonally, so that's kind of what we're going into. We're starting to head into winter, so winter is a good time to start thinking about that. So Silver Creek says, grow in a sump. Easy. I dirted the sump like a tank, 1-inch soil, 2-inch sand, and boom, ready to plant. So I am thinking of sump as in sump pump, as in where the poo goes in that area. Is that the same thing you are thinking of? Hey, Eric, thank you for another super sticker. Thank you. Oh, Andy has an answer. 83 hatched. Awesome. You always have good hatches. That you always do. And Eric says, hit the like button. Absolutely. 83 out of how many? Yeah, that's a good point. JJ's laughing. Foster says, Eric, thank you for the pronunciation. I'm trying really hard to learn Vietnamese for my Balut customers. That is awesome, and I think Eric is a good source for that. You definitely talk about that. Yeah. Buster says, great job to Andy. And JJ says, my county will pay for the rain barrel after you install one. I think it is pretty cool. So check your county and state programs. That is awesome. Yeah. And Andy says, I had 120 eggs. That's pretty good. All right. I think it's time for 118 eggs, 2 were cracked. I got them. Even better. I mean, not good that they're cracked, but it's good. It's a better hatch rate. So I think it's time for our topic of the day. And hopefully you guys saw the video from today and saw all the way through. And bad news first, Nana, the quail, passed on. However, we have babies in the aviary. So the broody mama in the aviary, in the main aviary, she's doing great. She had 9 babies hatch, and so I didn't count how many eggs, but maybe a 50% hatch rate, maybe. So we're doing good. Like, we know we're doing good because nature isn't doing 50%, maybe 50%. But she had 9 babies. When I found them, one of them was dead and in the sandbox, and the only reason why it would be in there is if an adult carried it in there. So I think probably the other adults were beating up on things, and there you go. That's how we found it. It was dead. And then the next day there were 2 dead at the feeder, and I think they got squashed by the other adults because they want to eat the baby food because it tastes yummier because it's higher protein. So what I did today is I actually took out a crate and that has wire around it. It's the same thing I used for male jail, if you're familiar with what I did for male jail. And I did I put the baby food and baby water in there, and so the babies can go through the gaps, but the adults are too big to fit. So that is my solution, and I hope that continues to work. So it's been working. I checked before live. There was still 6 babies left, and Mama is doing really, really good. There's a couple like to sunbathe in the little sunspot that gets in there in the afternoon. It's super cool, super cool. And I wish that it wasn't during the week and I could go out there and watch them all day. There you go. All right. So that's what I have to say. That's the topic. And I'm going to see what you guys say. And then we'll get some tips that I think are important for broody quail once we kind of see what you guys talk about. All right. Berta says, so Andy, we use the same company's project with about the same hatch rate. My Little Giant does better. Okay. Fulster says, hey guys, make sure you talk to your county extension office for TEAP programs. What's TEAP? It might be different in different places because I don't recognize that. Yeah, what does that stand for, Mandy? Eric says, I told a joke about chemistry, but it didn't get a reaction. Aw. Erica says, that's funny, Andrew Abbott. The same thing happened to me on the way home. And Andy's really happy with Little Giant Incubator. All right. And Mandy says, broody quail. Seriously cool, Sow and Tare. Absolutely, absolutely. The other one, I believe, is not going to hatch because the last 2 nights when I've gone in, no one's been on the nest. So I think she probably abandoned ship, unfortunately. But the one definitely has it. It's very, very good. Yeah. All right. And Erica says, I saw the video posted. So cool. Yes. Eric, Mandy says to Eric, well played, sir. Well played. JJ says to Fulster Farms, is that therapeutic early autism program? I don't know. We don't know what it is. We gotta wait for her to tell us. Eric says, I'll try to remember to post on the Facebook group about Vietnamese cuisine using quail eggs. That would be awesome, Eric. That would be super, super good. I keep forgetting to look up pictures of the Vietnamese food. That would be absolutely awesome. If you haven't joined the Sow and Tare Facebook group yet, that is something to do. I will put the link in there as soon as my Word document opens because I forgot to do that. Yeah, no, that would be super helpful. Ag Improvement Program. Fulster, that's AIP. Why is it TEAP? It's an Ag Improvement Program. Okay. Andy says, I lost 2 babies and I fell off the shelf. Oh, and 2 were dead. That is not fun. That is not fun. Here's the Facebook group. If you guys are not already signed up for that, go ahead and click that and sign up for it. Answer the questions so we know you're a real person, because you don't get in without answering the questions and accepting the rules. Right. And JJ has a big LOL. Bolster Farms. Bolster Farms says, I'm so clueless when it comes to naturally hatching quail. I'm all ears. All right, we're gonna go a little bit, and then I'm gonna tell some of what I have observed. Don says Teep has a lot of titles in search. Yeah. Eric says, what's my favorite childhood memory? Not paying bills. I get it. And Jay says, I agree. Yeah, Andy Rabbit, Don's saying that is sad for the babies. Yeah, it's sad. Things happen though, and it happens, and you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know why it happens and all that, but sometimes stuff happens. Yeah. Andy Rabbit says use GKF for this hatch. Tennessee Ag Enhancement Program. Ooh, maybe Tennessee Ag Enhancement Program. And Buster says, I've never had a broody quail. And Don says to Steve, that is the first one I saw. Thought it is nuts not going to Tennessee. Okay. So I think I'm going to go through some tips for broody quail that I think are from my observations. Okay. So first off, a natural environment is going to be best. And I have aviaries. I really only have aviaries and tractors. They're raised, like quail mobiles is what I call them. They're raised. And so those are the only things I've had. So I know, like, Chris was slightly redneck. He has a hutch. I don't think he's ever had anybody go broody. I think it could probably happen in something like that if they felt safe and if they're, all that. But I haven't heard of it happening. It might happen. They like natural areas. I have seen a couple people post in, I don't remember which group, some hutches that were much more like naturalized, like they brought everything into the hutch and it's like its own little habitat, kind of like a terrarium, and have had them go breeding in there. And so with that, I think the natural setting is the best way. It's not going to happen on wire because the wire is too cold on the underside, right? So the ground is insulating. So again, aviary setting is, I think, the best. You guys already know that. And they need some time. So basically this happened over when I've been going on the QuailCon and going this and going that. Really, Manuel didn't go in there at all. The main aviary, he didn't really go in there at all because they have long-term feeder and they have automatic water. He just didn't collect eggs. So we still have eggs all over the place. And then for the main aviary, he did go in there because of the rabbits, but he didn't collect eggs. And so when I have had them go broody, it has been when I haven't collected eggs for a couple days. There's a little pile, and then the girls are like, I think that needs to be sat on. And so after all this time, I've only had 2 nests be successful. One was my original quail, and one was the one that just hatched. So I've had many, many, many go broody. And sometimes they stay broody way past the period of when they should hatch. And sometimes they get up 4 days later. Sometimes get up at day 10. They typically don't sit long enough or for long enough periods of time at once to have the babies. It does happen. So some things that I've identified is, one, if you don't collect eggs for a few days, that's going to be more likely to initiate. 2 is they have to be in a safe spot. So you guys kind of saw the video of that. She's near a corner. She's not in a corner. I have had them go broody in, I think every corner in that aviary, I've had them go broody. But she is next to a grass clump that I had thrown in there. I had weeded and I threw it in there, and they ate, all of it except for that clump. And so she was kind of in between that clump and the wall. And so she needs to feel protected. And I think it's a good idea to have 2 exits. So she wasn't under anything, but she's up against 2 shade cloth. It's like a wall. It's not a wall up here, but she's only this tall. So she has a wall and a wall, and she's kind of in there, and she can get out. When I had the first ones that were successful, it was under, literally, I made a lean-to out of a plastic trash can lid. I was in the very beginning stages and making their habitat and making, like, I didn't even have wood chips in there yet. It was on the ground. And so that's interesting, right? So with that, it just becomes an interesting thing with the habitat is that it's protected. And I think having good exits is good. So good exits, and I would argue, though I may be incorrect, that having 2 exit locations is probably a good thing. I know when I also had him go broody once in the sandbox. In the sandbox, I have 2 doors, 2 holes that they go through, and it seems like they use it a lot more now than they did before. I think because we added that extra door, because if they need to get away, they can get away. And in her case, she can guard from more directions. So like right now, she's spending a lot of her time chasing off everybody else. She'd get off the nest and chase them. And, these poor little birds are falling out of her feathers going, wait, Mom, I'm cold. So those are 2 things. And then I think probably just leaving them alone, not bothering them, not, collecting eggs near them. I think is just leaving them alone. I don't think it actually is that much that you do. I think it's them doing it by themselves. They get a protected area, an area they're comfortable, and they're comfortable defending, and they're comfortable escaping from. So that is my input, just on the surface. And there you go. So let me know what questions you might have, and I may add to that. Yeah. Let's see. Fulster Farm says Tennessee Ag Enhancement Program. We probably don't have that here. But you saying that it's something that's in each state? Okay. One for every county and state. Okay. Buster says I have some in chicken tractor. You move it around? Yeah, if you move it around, then she won't have time to go broody in one place. But I wonder if you'd let it set there for a little bit. I don't know how big it is. I don't know how big your, I don't want them to be like sitting in poop, if it's there for too long, but be interesting. Verna says, Buster, that could be why as you move the tractors, but aviaries don't move. Yeah, that's what I was just saying. Yeah. Eric says, I had to fire my lawn guy today. He just wasn't cutting it. Fulster says, I meant that. Oops. I don't know what you're meaning. Dawn says, 9 p.m. time for me to head off the computer for the night. Have a great night, everyone. Have a great night, Dawn. Glad you could join us. Steve says, I thought I had a broody in a cage, but I think she just liked that spot to lay, which happened to have eggs. Yeah, so that's the other thing, that people think they have a broody quail sometimes if they're sitting on eggs. And honestly, I think unless they're broody, they're actual broody, once they lay an egg, they don't care about it. Like I've seen them walk over them and do whatever, but a girl who's broody, she will get the eggs and she'll bring them to her and she'll make a pile. So that's something else to be wary of, is if you're collecting eggs and there's a broody girl in there, she may have kicked out an egg that might have some fertilization. So you need to have some sort of birth around her that you're like, okay, these are the ones I'm eating and not selling, because it might, you're going to handle them anyway. But, you don't want that to be someone's surprise, especially if they're first time. But yeah, she might kick out old eggs. So that's something to consider. And they bring them in from a little distance, like a couple feet away sometimes too. Yeah. Andy Rabbit says, I normally don't put a lid on the brooder the first week or two if it's warm weather. I never thought anything would fall off the shelf before. So from now on, wire will go on top. Yeah, absolutely. And something you might consider, something that I use is a window screen. I actually have a giant window screen, but you can get window screens. I know you're out in the boonies. I'm going to preface this, but when you go to town, maybe call ahead for the nearest window place, because they take windows. When they take windows out to put new windows in, they take the screens with them, and they just have to pay to dump it. So, it's worth looking into to have them give it to you for free instead. It's a good source. Right. Like I said, I know you're out in the boonies. Fulster says, trying to type too fast. Sorry, guys. That's okay. That's okay. Everybody saying night to dawn. Eric says, I hired a handyman and handed him a to-do list. Much to my dismay, when I got home, he only had items 1, 3, and 5 done. Turns out, he only does odd jobs. You got Verna and JJ laughing. That's a good one, actually. JJ says, sounds like quail are too hyperactive to be broody. Yeah. So I know, like Nana, when she was in the aviary, she went broody 8 or 9 times, and she went broody pretty readily. But then she needed to get up and needed to get up and needed to get up. I think she just spent too much time off the nest. Now, broody mamas, they will stop laying. Okay, here's a question that I got. When they are on a nest, they are not necessarily on their eggs. They are on eggs that are in the aviary. So whoever is laying eggs in the aviary, it might be them that are, it's not just her eggs that she's on. They will continue, if she lets them, they will continue to lay under her. Now, part of why I think this one had success where other ones don't is that there weren't a whole lot of eggs under her. So a lot of the heat was going to the same eggs. So a lot of the other ones that I've seen, they start to lay or they start to incubate, and then more eggs get laid under them. And then they start over. So we have a lot of started incubations, and they don't have even heating. So I think that's probably important for them to be successful. I have taken away eggs before and only let them have so many, and it somewhat worked, but had some development, but then they don't sit on there long enough. So yeah. Yeah. And the other thing, I was going to say something else, but hopefully it'll come to me. Oh, so like too hyperactive to be broody. So the first nest that I had actually hatch was 4 different ladies, and they were all broody. So they all stopped laying. They stopped laying when they're broody. They all were on the nest, and they took their rotation. There was the morning, there was the afternoon, there was the evening, there was late. They had their assigned time, and I could always. There was only 4, so I could tell them apart, right? But they definitely rotated, and that was successful. This one in the aviary, this time it looks like she has a helper, but I don't know how strong that helping was in incubation. But it looks like she does have a helper. Yeah. And Fulster Farm says, our girls get angry and peck me if I don't collect eggs every day. They aren't usually grouchy. Now I get it. Okay, so you're saying they might go, they might get, they might be going broody. That could be. That could be. So think about when they're sitting on an egg. Are they sitting on an egg, or not an egg? Hopefully, it's more than one egg. Otherwise, it's not really that big of a nest. Are they sitting on the eggs and they're just sitting there, or are they fluffed up and puffed out and reaching over the eggs? So, like, this is the posture that they're going to be in if they're broody. And sometimes they will rustle their feathers and just kind of go like this, and that's to make more heat, or to get more air in between their feathers so that it can trap more heat. And so they'll do that. They'll go like this. But then, is that actually what's happening? Are they puffed out to their max, or are they just laying on it? Because, I mean, boys will lay on eggs too. So I don't know of any that will incubate them, but it's not beyond them. It's not beyond nature to have new things, right? Yeah. So Folster, Eric says, my brother asked me if I want a pamphlet. I told him brochure. Oh boy. All right. JJ is laughing at Mandy. I have one scream until I come out and get her egg. Oh, so she wants you to take it. That's funny. She's like, I gave you this gift. Take it. Eric says, I just heard a song by a music group called Tarp. They're a cover band. That was good. That was good. And JJ agrees. Cats is only Tennessee. Okay. Fulster Farm says, very cool about the behavior of broody hen and her environment. I'm going to try this. Should she be in a small enclosure? I am letting them do whatever they want to do. So wherever they choose to do it, that's where I have them do it. I know that some people I know with chickens, some people bring them and their babies somewhere. I tried that once to do that with a quail and eggs, and it failed. As soon as we changed the environment, she was like, what's that? That's a pile of eggs. I don't want anything to do with it. So personally, I would just let it go and let it happen, but up to you. Yeah, up to you. I think it's mostly that you'll leave them alone and let them do their thing. And of course, at this point, you want to have enough light on them. So if they have enough light, so it's about 16 hours, so 16 hours, then they'll have that response of laying eggs and wanting to be broody if they're going to want to be broody. If they don't have enough light, then they're not going to have that response because there's not enough light to lay. So there'll be no point in trying to raise babies if there's no eggs, right? Yeah. Fulcher says, we don't have an aviary, but would make one to see this. Yes. And that's kind of what I was thinking at QuailCon, that you might end up doing that. Yeah, I would definitely do that. And you can design it, again, with her safety in mind, with some hides, with some, I just have corners that are blocked off, and that's a hide. While it's not a hide from the rest of the quail, it's a hide from the rest of the world. So that is also something to consider. So yeah. I will tell you, this aviary that has had 2 successful nests is 7 feet by 10 feet. The other aviary has also, both of them have had multiple broody hens. The other one is kind of a weird shape, so I'm not sure exactly how big it is. I think it's slightly smaller square footage wise, but it's like kind of a weird, it follows the sidewalk in the backyard. So slightly smaller, but yeah. And Mandy's laughing at Eric, who says, hey, don't be mad at lazy people. They don't do anything whatsoever. Bob says, I know in Texas and New Mexico that every county has an extension service and an agricultural agent. They supervise the master gardener program too. but focus on animals. I did not know they supervised the Master Gardener program. At one point, I was going to do that, and there's a master composter as well. And then I just did my garden and did my compost and did not follow up on that. Something I would like to do is that there is I don't remember who it's through. I really don't remember who it's through. But there's a training course to go through to talk about food safety, and that's like the canning. It's mostly canning related, I think. Canning safety. And so you kind of know, like, okay, sorry. So for canning, there's things that they say, yes, you can do. There's things that say, no, you can't do it. And some of the things that say, no, you can't do it, it's because they have tested scientific reasons. And some of it is, hey, we haven't tested yet, so we can't say it's safe. So it's learning kind of what they do for that process. And I don't really know what's all involved, but it's like a year-long thing. I know because I tried to get into that this year and it didn't happen because it was already going. And I think they have a long waiting list too. But I would like to do that. Yeah. Andy Rabbit says, I have some old refrigerator wire shelves that work good. I put them on after that yesterday. Yeah, that works good. The thing about the, depending on how tall your brooder is, the thing about using window screen is that when they pop up, because they do get to an age where they just, they pop up and they hit their heads. And if they hit their heads on window screen, they just pop back down instead of hitting their heads on something hard. Yeah. Buster says, Eric, thanks for the joke. Local comedian. Always good for a dad joke. And JD says it's creative, Andy. Yeah. Eric says, I was riding a donkey the other day until someone threw a rock at me and I fell down. I guess I was stoned off my... Oh, boy. My pleasure, he says. Andy Rabbit says, JJ... They are thick and strong wire. They fit the brooder perfectly, and I can slide them from side to side to open the cage. Oh, and free. Yeah, that is perfect then. That is perfect. The Fulster says, for our chickens, we replace the eggs under a broody hen with eggs we know are at the same point of fertilization and keep other hens away. Will that work with quail? Good question. I don't know. I know they turn them. Like they turn the heck out of them because when I've marked them in the past with like Sharpie or something, they like rub it off just because they turn so much. I don't know. So basically you're saying if they go broody, can we put fake eggs under them, hatch the babies, and then put them under the mom? I think that might work as long as they accept the eggs. So Nana, who just recently passed, she took care of the babies. They were, I think they were like 3 years old. 3 years. I think they were like 3 days old when we put her in with the first bunch, and she was a mother right away. Like she mothered them, she scolded them, and all that. So I think it would work. My first hatch for the first broody ones, they only hatched one baby, which is kind of sad, but also exciting, but also very sad because it died later. But because there was only one, I had a hatch going. It was actually, it might have been my first hatch. My first hatch, because those ones were ones I got off Craigslist. It might have been my first hatch because I put the smallest Egyptian and the smallest Jumbo Wild in with them. I put them under her at night, and they were accepted. They were adopted. So, in that same night, I don't know if I was the cause of it or not, but the baby spent the night away from mom and died the next day. It got itself crammed into a rock. So that's something else to think about is baby proofing. These things are like this big, which means they can get in a crack this big. So don't have cracks that big. That's what it comes down to. Yeah. Yeah. So I would say, yes, I have had quail adopt babies when they already had a baby. And yes, I have had a broody quail adopt babies in the brooder that were just not her babies. So I think what you're asking would be, should work. It should work. And I guess I should try that. I guess I should try, if there is a broody mama, let her be broody for a couple days and then see if I can shove babies under her and she'll take care of them. Because that would be a good thing to know and test. So maybe I'll test that too. Try it. I did have over after my giant chicken. She's a Buff Orpington. She one time when she was broody, I think it was last year sometime. I put 10 eggs under her that were quail eggs, and she did hatch 2 of them. The rest of them she squished by accident, I'm sure. And they unzipped, but I couldn't find the babies. So I am pretty sure that her sisters ate them. But it is possible. I would use a smaller chicken if you're using a chicken, because buffalo orpingtons are pretty big. And yes, she did squish most of them. So yeah, can be done. JJ says, I had one injured quail babysit some babies because I ran out of cages, and it was fun watching 15 babies all pile into her. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. And the benefit of having I guess not broody at that point, but a motherly mother, a motherly Nana in the brooder is, like, I use heat plates. I don't use the bulbs. It's a safer thing to do because you don't get house fires, which can happen with the bulbs. And she goes and collects them at night. So the first 2 nights, I would say, if you're using a brooder plate, the first 2 nights you should be in there and scooting babies underneath the plates. Now, if something scares them in the middle of the night and they go running out, then they have to be scooted under again. Usually you hear that. Well, I do, because it's the room next to me. And when she was in there, she would collect them. They would start peeping, the peep when they say, I don't know where I am. Where am I? Where's the worm? She would go over and collect them, and then she would have those ones underneath her, and the other ones were underneath the brooder plates. So yeah. Andy Rabbit says, I have another set of eggs I'm ordering so I can get in the Witches and Warlocks hatch with Dawn. I did not know this was a thing. Have fun with that. Absolutely. Fullster Farms, light equals broody. Got it. Well, there's more to it than that, but yeah, light plus neglect equals broody, as long as they have food and water. I think that's the shorthand. Bruna says, what day are you setting the eggs, Andy? Okay. And Fullster Farms, good information. Thank you. You're welcome. And Andy said eggs on the 14th. The 14th, Andy Rabbit, that is when there is a eclipse. I'm going to be up in Oregon at my parents' then. See the eclipse. Erica says, that's what prompted me to decide to go with an aviary method instead of cages. Yeah, the potential for broodiness. Yeah, and broodiness. So broodiness is going to have a couple things happen. One, if they're broody and they don't hatch, you just wasted a lot of eggs, and you just wasted a lot of eggs that she would have made had she not been broody, because she's not laying. Which is fine for the entertainment factor and all that. But if you're going business wise, that could be good advertisement. Hey, we're good. We have good enough environment. They go broody. But it could also be like, hey, half my eggs are now not happening because there's broodiness going on. Or, you think about that in whatever setup you're doing and just be okay with it, whatever you choose. Yeah. And then the other part of it is ridiculously entertaining to see these broody ladies, and extra entertaining when they hatch and they have these little babies. Like I said, I wish that, I wasn't working this week so I could go out and watch them all day, because it's fun. Yeah. And Verna's going to join in with the hatch. All right. All right. A reminder. It is close to the date. I should have kits arriving. That is awesome. So we tried to breed Ravioli for the first time. Ravioli is a rabbit. 2 days ago, something like that. Sunday, and she wasn't having it. So the goal was to expose her several times to Parmesan, and she just hasn't been back in because we've been busy. So I think we might put her in there maybe tonight. We'll see what happens. Try and get her bred, or maybe ravi, or maybe rigatoni. Maybe we do rigatoni first. I don't know. We'll see. But that is happening, and Parmesan is a gentleman. Like he's not the most robust buck. You know, he likes to clean their ears, and he likes to clean his feet in between fall offs, and he likes to, you know, just kind of chill dude. Pretty funny. All right. I'm going up here because you guys jumped. Verna says 30 more Egyptian fees. Then you can do that. You can do it. Bob says, after I sold my landscape company to an employee, I took the Master Gardener program so I could be qualified to help others and be a speaker at home and garden shows. Pay it forward. Interesting. So it's kind of like having a degree. That degree, it says, yes, I know what the heck I'm talking about. Yeah. That's good. That's good. Was it a good experience? And are you glad that you did it? That's the questions. Verna says, if Bucky was successful with Mooney, then I should have kits on the 18th. Cool. Thank you, Eric, for another super sticker. Says, good job. I appreciate you. Andy Rabbit says, I think my breeder is either 16 or 18 inches tall, maybe 15 inches. I can't remember what I built. Yeah, mine is too tall. It's too deep and it's too tall. If I ever finish that build video editing, I have so many videos that I need to edit. Yeah, I keep on doing more videos. Andy Rabbit says, woohoo, Verna. Fulcher says, about extension course, if you get your Master Farm Manager certification, it covers a lot generically, as it is really worth the effort. Master, what is it? Master Farm Manager certification. I'm going to write that down here. Master Farm Manager certification extension office. I think it is the extension office that does the canning, but only certain offices. Dan is a Master Farm Manager, and I am a Master Small Ruminant Specialist for sheep. Going for Master Poultry Cert now. Is quail included in that? I don't know. I don't know either. Yeah, I have not explored the extension office as much as I probably should. Andy's getting celadon eggs. All right. Yeah. Buster says, do you think letting them go broody, they will get better at raising their babies? So I had that theory, and I only have experiences raising ones that were raised in the aviary once. They were the ones that got adopted. And I was thinking that maybe mothering, being mothered might make them more apt to be mothers. And actually the two that I did in there, I just chose them because they were smaller. They were like 2 days or 3 days older than the one that was hatched in the aviary. So I wanted to choose the smallest ones. And they were both female. And I don't think either one of them went broody. So they're long gone now. So I don't know about that. And that's only a test of 2. So that's kind of what I was thinking, is that they would at least know how to do that. But I mean, Nana knew how to be a mom, and she didn't have a mom. I mean, I was her mom. I didn't yell at her though. Yeah. Verna says to Foster, did you go through Quail University? Oh, yeah. So she's talking. So Verna, she's talking about a certification through the extension office that gets recognized pretty widely. Yeah, with that. Andy Rabbit says, okay, Verna, I'll send you some pictures. Okay. Yeah. Oh, so you're not done with it yet, Mandy? Yeah, it's a good thing. At Quail University, if you guys haven't done that yet, the 101 course, the 101 course is really, really good. It has lots of information in it. And if you use this link that I just put in, then I'll get a little bit of kickback, and it gets you going in the program. I will be doing a course as well for aviaries, and there's going to be a lot of information in there. So that's really, really good. Yeah. Yep. So that's coming next year. All right. Mandy's going to bed. Says Katrina, thank you for the great live. You're welcome. Thank you for participating and asking good questions. And everybody saying good night. And Joy saying hello. We're switching out Mandy for Joy. Hi, Joy. Welcome, welcome. Hopefully the smoke is not bad in your area. We had smoke earlier. At the end of last week, we had a lot of smoke down here. Yeah. But welcome. Mandy, say goodnight. Oh, Halloween hatch. Got it. That makes sense. So that's the 14th for Halloween hatch. I'm going to be out of town on the 14th, so that won't be happening here. Erica says, I'm going to be getting some Surma chickens, the smallest breed of chicken, which are known for going broody. I'm going to try and get one to sit on quail eggs for me. That sounds like an awesome plan. Yeah, it'll get done. And Andy says October 14th for Halloween hatch. It's awesome. And you guys jumped again. Hang on. All right, everybody's saying hi. And JJ's asking Erica, when did you sneak in? She snuck in a while ago. She's been pretty quiet today. An hour ago, she says. Yeah. It's okay. My does are Mooney and Smoky, Verna says. Yep. So we have Parmesan the buck. They were talking about rabbits now. Parmesan the buck. We have Ravioli and Rigatoni, who are just getting this will be the first breeding. And then we have two black ones that are crossed between California and New Zealand. They are actually full sisters of the other girls. They just look like their mom, and the other ones look like their dad. And they don't have names yet. So at some point, maybe the next couple of weeks, we're gonna do a naming thing. Yeah. Andy Rabbit says the pair of quail I gave my daughter, the hen hatched 2 clutch of eggs that summer. I think it was 4 and 3 babies in each hatch. I guess I gave her the golden quail. That's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah. JJ said certified airhead at times. Oh no. You're good. Yeah. So Verna is saying cool to Andy, and JJ saying that is so sweet. It is. And Andy says my daughter really enjoyed the quail. That is great. Does she still have them? Oh, she says she just bought a house. Maybe she will want to get some more quail now. Maybe. Bob says, no regret for Master Gardener program. I was blessed in my business, and it was a great way to help others. I learned some from it but being an active gardener all my life and running a full service landscape company was more educational. Absolutely. Absolutely. And your education in your own yard and your area, the people who you take care of, I mean, you have experience in that area specific to, your area, where it might be different from me in my area, right? We're all our own experts in our garden. And with you having so much experience in other people's garden, that gives you even more of an education. And I would say this, most professions, if not all professions, you learn more doing it than in school or in trainings. Yeah. Yeah. Eric says, thank you for another live stream. You're welcome. He says, I found pictures of Baya now posting on a Facebook group. Awesome. Thank you for doing that. That is super helpful, Eric. No more smoke, Joy says. Yay. Yay. Hopefully some fires are being put out. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes fires wait until... do you remember the biscuit fire? I don't know how long you've been there up in Oregon, but there was a biscuit complex fire, and it was like a complex of 3 or 4 different fires that came together, and it burned well into winter. It stopped being in the news, but it was burning well into the snowy period because it was so hot and going so much. But yeah, it's fire time is a different situation. Yeah. Andy Rabbit says, when she moved, she left the cage and quail with her ex's dad. Okay. Well, hopefully she gets quail. And hopefully she's maybe close to you, or at least you guys can visit, and that would be good. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I hope that was a good topic of discussion. I mean, it's good for me because it's happening right here, right now. And it's a good thing to share about while it's happening, I think, because I'm going to be making some observations over the next little bit that hopefully will be helpful to you guys. And I think it's important when you have something new like this, or rare like this, that we make some observations about what's going on and what we could do better next time and how to help and all that. Like, I didn't really think about doing the food in a separate enclosed area because when I had them before, basically all the moms were just chasing around the dad. I only had 5 of them in there. There was 6, and one of the ladies, I think, had a heart attack because the cat was trying to get in. But yeah, it's an interesting thing to watch and to observe. And I've had enough broody hens that I kind of pretty much know how that works. But the actual hatching, mothering, the thing that I've been enjoying on the rare occasion when I have been going out there is hearing the mom because she'll talk to them. Like, she has so many different vocalizations that you don't hear when you don't have a mom in there. And it's like a whole nother language that she's talking. And she talks very angrily to everybody else, adult in there, like, get away, get away. There is one lady that I think is her helper that she's like, okay, you have my back. And I think probably helpers are important to part of the story, whether that's sitting on the eggs with her or sitting next to her to make her feel safe, chasing off the other ones too. I think that's probably important. But it might not be. So, yeah. Yeah. Oh, Andy says, you said only 4 hours from home. That's good. Verna says, I have an order for processed quail, and the rest of the quail from that batch will go into jerky. That sounds good. Oh, is she close to Kansas City Quail Farm? That's good. She's gonna have to get some quail then. Verna says, when I do the rabbits, I we'll use the belly flaps for jerky as well. Yeah, so the belly flaps for rabbits is interesting because it's not anything you wouldn't know already. It's something that you don't think of when you're going to cook the meat. So the belly flaps are the abs, and we have two types of muscle. One muscle, the muscle fibers go this way, and the other muscle fibers go this way. And the abs, the belly flaps, are basically stuck together like this. So it has both this and this. And so when you cook it, when you cut cooked meat, if the muscle fibers are going this way, you should cut it like this, because the muscle fibers bounce back and make it it's not chewy that way. If you cut it this way, then you have these long muscle fibers that are more chewy. So it's an interesting thing when you have the belly flaps, because they do have both directions, to try and figure out how best to cook it. Now, a way to cook it that I figured out was pretty good is to steam them. That worked really well. Canning worked pretty well. The end result of canning was pretty akin to like a pulled pork sandwich. You know how it's has a little bit of that extra fat in there, because it does have more. I think it had more fat incorporated, but a little extra fat and a little kind of shreddy. That was the closest thing I could think of when it came out of the jar, and I kind of just took a fork and went like this, was a pulled pork sandwich. It didn't taste like pork, but that's just the consistency and all that. And Andy Rabbit saying that's cool, Bernard. Yeah, that's cool. Joy is saying rainy here today. Everything is soaked. Yeah, my dad says it's gonna rain. He's up in Central Oregon. He said it's gonna rain, I think, all week or something, which is rare. Yeah. Okay, Verna says that's exactly what makes the belly flaps perfect for jerky. Cool. I have never tried to do that, but it would be a good thing to do with them. I have some in the freezer. Maybe I should try that. I have some in the freezer that I pre-marinated with teriyaki. I think I still have those. I might have eaten them, but that would be a good, like a teriyaki jerky would be good. Yeah. Erica says I run it through my meat grinder and use it for burger. That makes sense too. Anyway, I'm losing my voice for some reason. I don't know. I talked like all week last week, the week before. It didn't happen. Andy Rabbit says, for belly flaps, my granddaughter likes them cut into about 1-inch cubes, breaded and fried. She calls them bunny nuggets. That is great. That is great. Yeah, I've tried a couple different things, and they definitely are a different part of the rabbit to cook. Pretty much everything else cooks the same, same texture, all that. The back is really good, but mostly because you have a lot of meat without bones. But the belly is definitely a different beast as far as how you would cook it. So yeah, bunny nuggets. That's pretty funny. Pretty funny. All right. Well, do you guys have any more questions about broody quail? So that's the topic today. We can talk about that more. I may have exhausted the topic. I don't know. But I just think that's fun that I have a broody mama, and I tell you guys at QuailCon, those are at QuailCon, I told you the automatic systems is great. I can leave and nobody has to do anything for my quail. I left and nobody did anything for that aviary. I think he might have gone in once to check the food to see if there was enough, and there was. But that's it. And come out with babies. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. Verna says, I will flatten the quail breasts since the breast is really 2 layers of muscle and make them into jerky. Yeah, that's good. Andy Rabbit says she's going to come stay the weekend and has asked if I would make her special bunny soup. Why this girl puts the word bunny in a food dish, I have no idea. Well, is there bunny in the food dish? Or is it like vegetables like a bunny would eat? Yeah. I have been socializing. I haven't held them since the video. But I have been socializing the I don't even know what to call them, the black bunnies, which I will try to remember to wear a light colored shirt. Thanks, Verna, for pointing that out. You can't see the rabbits. And so I have been giving them each a willow leaf at night, and they've gotten into the habit of coming over and going, "Oh, where's my willow leaf?" And so they're getting better about coming up to me without me, taking them out. I might try and cuddle with them today a little bit. We'll see. But other than that, I've been successful with just putting in the willow leaf and holding on to it. And it was pretty funny. The first time I did it, they didn't really know what it was. And they're like, oh, maybe I like it. Oh, yeah, actually, this is pretty good. And one of them decided to take it out of my hand, just like she, I had it like this, and she took it and she went yank, and she was munching on it, and then she dropped it, and then she came over here and so rabbits, they could bite, but they also use their mouth as a hand to move things. So I'm not concerned with a rabbit when it puts its mouth over me. Now, this is the first time they did it with her, but I figure, if it hurts, I will pull away and I'll be fine. I'll live. So she did this. She grabbed onto my hand and she went like, get out of here. So I took the leaf again. I'm like, nope, you're not doing that to me. I'm taking the leaf. I get to hold the leaf while you eat it. And she tried it one more time. And then after that, she's like, okay, fine, you can hold it. So that's the kind of baby steps I'm taking with them. She only did it that one day. And she didn't do it after that. So it's pretty funny. Yeah, but they do like willow. JJ says, I enjoy hearing about your observations on the quail interactions with their eggs and babies. Yes, I enjoy telling you guys about it. So I'm glad that you're enjoying it. It's good. Yes, there's rabbit in the dish. Well, that's why it's bunny soup. Andy says, but I don't think bunny and food is the best idea to get people to eat it. Well, maybe she wants it all to herself. Yeah. And Verna says, the shirt you're wearing now would be perfect for showing the girls. Yep. My Going Native garden tour. It was a free shirt from something. From the Going Native garden tour. It has a native penstemon on it. JJ says, that shirt is pretty. Thank you. I haven't worn it in a while. I needed a t-shirt today and I just grabbed one. Verna says, yepers, and it is light colored so you can see the young does. Yep. And JJ says, because of Bugs Bunny? maybe. Yeah, I'm gonna have to pay attention to what color I'm wearing when I'm interacting with the animals, and I need to get new farmer sleeves because I don't know where the ones are that I have. Farmer sleeves work really, really well for the spiny things like zucchini. They don't work well for blackberries, but I figure it's a little edge of protection against some bunny claws that might not be used to being handled. So if you're watching us wearing sweatshirts and stuff, that was not because it was cold. It was because we want to make sure protect ourselves from bunny claws, which I think they both did really good. So I'm not sure that it's actually all the way necessary, but maybe next time we'll do a t-shirt and find out. Because I don't think I have any light colored sweatshirts. Yeah. Andy says, one day her and the hubby was talking and said, I hate the rabbits. And she said, you should eat them then. You will love them because they taste good. She was 6. Yeah, like Verna says, she's a smart kid. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Yeah. Well, I'm going to continue to socialize with these girls, and hopefully that will make a difference. Hopefully they'll be good. And yeah, it's going to be interesting once they're in the Raviary, because the Raviary has no R right now. No, wait, that's the Raviary. They're not going in the Raviary. Once they're in the Rackin house, because the Rackin house doesn't have an R, it just has chickens, then that will be, they'll be good, kind of back to normal. But I kind of want to have them be together for a little bit longer. It's super easy to feed them because they get all you can eat buffet in there, and kind of easy interactions without the distractions of the chickens, because the chickens do want my attention every time I go in there, which I guess is a good thing, right? Andy says, I love my granddaughter. And Rita says, I hope she comes to QuailCon next year. I hope you get to go with you. Yeah. Hopefully she'll get to go with you. That would be good. That would be really good. Yeah. Well, guys, I'm thinking we are slowing down here. So unless you have something, a fun question, or maybe not a fun question, or some other topic of discussion that we can expand on and share our experience, then that will be good. Let's see. JJ says, thank you for the live. You're welcome. And Buster says the same thing. Thank you for the live. You're welcome. And Eric says, there's the link to my post. Eric, you can't, the link doesn't show up in here, but I think if everybody goes to the Friends of Sow and Tare Facebook group, he uploaded some language and some pictures, I think, of Vietnamese food with quail eggs. So that's pretty cool. Thank you for doing that. Verna says, Andy, I'm used to that. Only had daughters. And Andy says, thanks for the live. Have a good week. Have a great week, you guys. It is good to be back. Good to be doing lives again. And Verna says, give me a minute, Katrina. Okay. We're giving Verna a minute. It's good to be back. I am staring at a humongous pile of the summer squashes, and I am needing to do some things with them. So we did try. You haven't seen the video yet. I was like, the video you just saw, but you didn't see it. We did a taste test of the 5 different heat tolerant tomatoes. And so that when that video goes up, it's probably gonna be next week. Manuel's eating soup in that because he wanted to eat while we were doing it. And we did try some freeze-dried zucchini in there. So it was raw freeze-dried and then put into soup to rehydrate, and it turned out okay. It turned out it's not like putting it in fresh, but it's good nutrition. So that was our first time using it, and we decided to try it. So that was really good to try. And I'm also going to be doing, I think I'm going to be doing pickles, just so you guys have a video on that, and fake pineapple. So if you have zucchini and you want fake pineapple, hold on to those zucchinis. Hopefully they're not too late in the summer. I've been busy and I didn't get to canning that. But it's really fun. You can make basically pineapple out of zucchini, which is crazy, right? It's crazy. Okay, so I think Verna put, let's see. Yeah, so Verna put the link for the Friends of Sow and Tare Facebook group, where Eric put the Vietnamese food with quail wording and pictures. So that's pretty cool. That's really cool. Thank you for doing that. All right. And Verna has a Wednesday live going now. All right. Are you doing lunchtime? Lunchtime again? I know you were doing that before. JJ says, good night, everyone. Take care. And Erica says, good night, everyone. Yep, still processing produce. JJ says, oh, believe me. Yeah, it's happening. Wednesday at 7 a.m. Okay. 7 p.m. At 7 something. Awesome. Awesome. Cool. I will talk to you guys later. And next week, 6 p.m. Pacific time, same place, same channel. And we will talk to you later. I hope that everybody has a wonderful week. And we will see you guys in the Friends of Sow and Tare Facebook group. If you guys have anything related to the things that we're talking about today, or maybe some other thing, homestead related thing, water catchment stuff or broody quail stuff or fun stuff like that, go ahead and put it in there and we'll talk about it. All right. Thank you for watching and enjoy the day.